And think about it, when the benchmarks were not available, when right way of doing things were not available, our mind was more creative. Long back, when I was a small kid, I was reading a science fiction comic book. And the story in comic book goes like this. A human being traveled back in time. I don't know how many years, but his intention was to enslave all the people in the current time. I know there is nothing interesting in this story, but one interesting fact I remember till date is that the human that came from, thousands of years ahead, his brain was depicted as a big brain. The brain has expanded and the brain was like supercomputer. And I believe the only reason I am remembering this story because of the big head, right? So I realized and I believed at that point of time that over a period of time, since human brain is going to do more and more work, the brain will expand and brain will ultimately become, more than supercomputer. But I believe the writers of that story haven't considered this small cell phone or computers. You know, Not only that, they haven't considered something called AI, which is going to all the work not in your brain but outside your brain. Let me give you an example. My father never used calculator for doing, all the normal mathematics like calculating compound interest or something like that. He never used calculator. But today I'm telling about myself when it comes to doing some calculation, even if it is a simple mathematical calculation of, high degree numbers, I just open calculator in my, mobile or my laptop and do the calculation. Do you think that my neurons will be getting required energy or it is actually expanding? Forget about expanding. I am concerned that in thousands of years' time, maybe our brain will shrink. Now, you must be wondering why I told you this story. What is the relation of this story with the decline of programming? Let me again tell you from the start. When I started programming in the late 1990s, I started programming when I was studying. It was all about creating things. Think about software engineering. What is the meaning of engineering? Engineering means creation. We were creating things, right? None of those things were, kind of existed ready made. We just used to, create things, learn from our own mistakes, and many a times the things which we have created, we never had any reference architecture or reference code for the same. For example, let me tell you my own example. The first, production level product I created was a, voice over IP phone. I've created that using, S323 SIP RTP RTCP protocol. Just Google about it and you don't need to do it. Those are, communication protocols. But there were no reference implementation of that where we could go and see. Think about architecture we created on our own. I worked on multiple architectural sites, and believe me, that helped me in understanding what is the meaning of architecture, what architecture should have, what architecture shouldn't. And this also helped me in understanding the difference between architecture and design. Okay, so it was all about creation, but over a period of time, with the availability of sample code, sample architecture, sample design, design patterns, we are no longer creating, we are using. Now, before you come up with a counter argument, let me tell you that I'm not against high level languages which makes things easier like Python. What I'm trying to say is that even with the availability of high level languages, we are trying to reuse. We are not trying to create something new. We are not engineering, we are reusing. I don't know what is the term for that. If engineering means creation, I don't know what is the term for reusing. I know you might also be thinking that we moved from assembly language to C, C++. Those high level languages helped us to create, lots of things. I agree, but people who were writing code in, assembly language, Fortran, COBOL, or, C, C++, they were creating earlier. It was all about creation. There was no set of assembly that was there available for people who were writing assembly language code. And think about it, when the benchmarks were not available, when right way of doing things were not available, our mind was more free, our mind was more creative, and we had created, mesmerizing things, during that time. And most of the thing we are still using. Go to any company, you will find code created initially during that time when there was no judgment on this is the best practice, this is the best way of doing anything or creating anything. And this is what I call the decline of programming. I can give multiple arguments. Think about object oriented design patterns created long back in if I remember it correctly, 1995, approximately 28 years back. Are you absolutely sure that those were the only design patterns that could have been created? There is no other permutation combination available. If no, fine. But if yes, why there are no additional patterns that emerged? you know and over a period of time in all high level languages, I saw people end up creating same design patterns. People are not thinking about totally new architectural pattern, totally new design patterns. And even when they are thinking, I believe most of the creative minds were shut down in the beginning because they are not perceived to be the best or the appropriate way of doing the code. As an engineer, we need to use our creativity, which we are not using. We are reusing, and let me tell you why reusing as it is bad. Because situation is different in each and every problem you are trying to solve. Think about it. Let's assume that you want to copy Empire State Building. As a software developer, you will just control C, control V, no matter where that Empire State Building comes up. But will you do the same thing as an engineer? Whenever you are trying to copy Empire State Building, even if you are trying to copy as it is, okay, you need to check the surface, you need to check the wind speed, you need to check the environment where you are creating this building, and you may need to change the things according to, various environmental status of the place. Right? You cannot just control C, control V. And since Empire State Building is a benchmark, that doesn't mean you can't create something different. Think about it. How will a city look if all the buildings are similar or relatively similar? Think about it. How all the cities of the world will look like if all the buildings in all the cities across different continents across the world are just, more or less a replica of Empire State, because that is a best way of doing things. Because again, that building is good. That building is too old. It's approximately, if I believe, going to be more than 90 years, and it's still strong. It's still an example. So there is nothing wrong in emulating that. But how the world will look like if you go to Hong Kong, you just see same building. You go to San Francisco, you see same building. You go to Mumbai, you see just Empire States all around. And that's the precise reason I say that in programming, if we are not creating things, which we aren't right now because of numerous reasons, right? I don't think there is one reason responsible for it, but it is a decline of programming. And the new things which are keep on coming, for example, Chat GPT, they are just showing what is already there. If you are asking for Empire State, you will get Empire State. But that creativity we need to bring in. So that was my thought I wanted to share with all of you. I do hope and believe that it made some sense. Thank you all. Thanks for watching. We will meet again. Until the next time we meet, good day, goodbye. You take care.